Hello. So we talked about what a standard cost is, the different types of standard costs, and how they're similar to budgets. So now let's get down to the nitty-gritty and how to calculate a standard cost. So we know a standard cost, we're talking about our product cost. So that means it's made up of DM, DL, and MO. So when creating a standard cost, we need to account for our direct material standard or estimate, direct labor, and MO. Okay, and then within each one of these, so when we're calculating our DM, we know that that is made up of a price standard, how much we expect to pay per unit, multiply it by the quantity standard, how much we expect to use per unit. So for my free library, right, if we're talking about, let's say the wood, the price standard is how much I pay per board of wood. The quantity standard is how many boards of wood, right? And again, you're doing the same thing in your projects, depending on your unit that you're manufacturing. All right, labor, same thing. There's going to be a price standard and a quantity standard. Okay. The reason I hesitated is because sometimes it has different terminology for direct labor, depending on the book. Sometimes they call it a rate standard, right? The labor rate. And sometimes instead of calling it a quantity standard, they call it an efficiency standard. So just depends, tomato, tomato, but it's how much you're paying your laborers per hour and then how many hours you estimate it will take to make the product. Quantity standard. Right, so for our direct labor costs, how long did our laborers work? It was months, but not all continuously, right? My laborer, my husband, was not working on making this free library for months continuously. It was one of those stop and go projects. And then the labor rate that we're paying that worker per hour. Okay, and again, you're doing the same thing in your project, right? How much time it takes you to make your product, and then how much you're paying yourself. And I said estimate your minimum wage for your labor rate if you don't have another amount to use. And then finally, MO, same thing. You're going to have a price standard. Sometimes the terminology will be a little bit different. For right now, we're still in the introduction phase of this chapter, so we'll keep it simple and according to your book. There you go. Okay, so we know standard cost is made up of those three items, your standard product cost, DM, DL, and MO. For each one of those, we need the price standard, the quantity, right, for each one of those individual components. Let's try an example. So this one's in your book as well. It's on page 408, in case you want to look along if you can't really see it too well on the video. So developing a standard cost card. Use this information, so that's what we're doing here, standard cost card, to create a standard cost card, meaning it includes all three of these items, for production of one deluxe bicycle from Bicycles Unlimited. To make one bicycle, it takes 4 pounds of material. Okay, so that's your quantity. Okay, so 4 pounds. We can just fill it in as we go. And the material is purchased usually for $5.25 per pound. $5.25 per pound. Sure, we can do that math right now. Why not? So completely in my head. Just kidding. $21. Direct labor. The labor necessary to build this bicycle consists of 2 types. The first is assembly. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have 2. Assembly is assembly. The next is finishing. And then finishing. Okay. It takes 2.75 hours to assemble. And it takes 4 hours for finishing. The assembly workers are paid $11. The finishing workers are paid $15. Okay, so go ahead and math across. Let's see, we get $30.25 here. And then for finishing, we get a total of $60. Okay, on to mow. Overhead is applied using direct labor hours. Good thing we have that. The variable overhead rate is $5 per hour. So that's our price, $5 per hour. We use direct labor hours. We can go ahead and combine them. So 6.75 hours times 5, we get $33.75. Okay. Fixed overhead, $3 per hour. Same number of direct labor hours. Multiply that. $20.25. Be consistent there. Add it all up. You get a total standard cost. So it should cost $165.25 to make one bicycle. Okay, so this is our total standard cost. Okay, and I'll go ahead and post a problem for you guys to do for participation, but at least you've gotten the overview of what is a standard cost, the different types, and how to calculate it. All right, enjoy.